Welcome to the 2040 Vision, hosted by Helena and Jason, where fresh perspective meets hard-earned wisdom, because growth is clearer when you see it from both sides.
Food for thought, nutrition, growth, things like that. Obviously, a struggle of mine, but something I've been working on for a long time. Is there anything new? It's been a few weeks since we released an episode. Is there like anything that's pertinent that you think we should talk about? How's work? How are things going there?
Not so great. We're especially now that vacations have started at work. We're a lot more short-staffed, and so everyone's on vacation. That doesn't mean that people aren't going to call sick, right? So people call sick, and then all of a sudden we're drowning in work. So,
And you're in an industry, obviously, with the hospitals and stuff that people don't stop getting sick or needing X-rays or things like that, right? So it's not like
the volume hasn't gone down.
You can budget vacations around the busy period that doesn't really exist.
No. So we have a rule though that we're allowed 3 people on vacation at the same time. But our volume doesn't change, right? Like the volume of people coming in doesn't change. If we get a quiet day, we're lucky. If we don't, it's just regular. But and especially with the cuts, right? Like they kind of do their best possible to schedule the least amount of people as possible. And if you do call sick, they'll try their hardest not to call people for overtime. But sometimes you can't avoid that. Sometimes, like if you're only 5 people scheduled not scheduled, but 5 people that day because 2 people called sick, and now you can't even run the department properly, you're going to have no choice but to call people in for overtime, which kind of then contradicts the whole budget cutting and things, right? Because if you're paying somebody overtime, are you not spending more money than if you had somebody paid at regular time? So why don't you just schedule more people? Anyways, it's just the whole thing.
The age old, if you did this, did that, I'm sure it's almost like if I know how the way the public system works is like they'll look at it as a gamble. But also you can slot spending in different categories. So it's like, hey, we have a budget for this kind of thing. We're only spending that, but we also spent X amount on extra, So it's probably just a political way of showing how much the budget is being changed and or saving on stuff like that. But it's not just in the medical and in the healthcare system. It's we're going through the same thing at our job right now. It's vacation time, and we had some people leave recently, and we weren't going to replace them, and now we have another person that fell and hurt herself, and so they're going to be out for a long time, and everybody's feeling the same squeeze when it comes to summertime. Just you gotta. I went on vacation for a week and a half. I came back. You have like 110 emails to go through, and I'm only catching up now. It's been a week and a half, so it's not an easy time for everybody. But it's part of work. It's part of that grind, and at the end of the day, only we can change that if we want. So it's there.
But on a more positive note, I've been doing a lot this summer so far. Like I've been going out a lot. Even the days that I'm not out, I just sit outside, just kind of think to myself, I only have 3 solid months of summer. Then it gets back to cold. So I know it's like cloudy right now, but I'm still gonna sit outside for as long as I possibly could.
I hear you. And you guys are going to Greece soon, I hear.
Yeah, we are. So that happened miraculously. How vacations work at my work is that the more seniority you have, you get first pick of what you want. So like I said, you can't be more 3 people on vacation. So if 3 people with higher seniority choose the vacation that you want, you will obviously get bumped. You won't be able to get that. So usually July and August are off the table. I can't get that. I'm too low seniority. But somebody with super high seniority, I think she's like second on the list or something, she took 2 weeks in August, and she's like, dang, now I don't want them because she's going to visit her daughter in Japan in October. So I was like, dude, what I could do is I could take your October, we could do a legal switch, you know, like all these things. And she's like, yeah. So miraculously, I got 1 week in August, which isn't enough for Greece, but I'll figure it out. I'll do some switches and for the following week, maybe I could get a solid 12 days or whatever. But yeah, I'm going with my mom and my sisters, and I'm really excited the fact that I'm going with them. I think if it wasn't with, I wouldn't have gone if it wasn't with my family.
Yeah.
I would have been like, oh, I'm budgeting, I have a goal this year, I'm not gonna go. But because it's my family, I'm like, you know what, when's the next time we're all gonna go on this vacation together, back to the roots, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard.
The motherland.
Yeah. So I took it kind of as an opportunity and a sign like, oh, I could get that week in August. Why not take it? It's a good opportunity.
Good. That's cool. That's cool. We've been doing a lot of fun things too. We were just saying before we started the cast that I feel like we have something every single weekend. There's birthday parties. We were out swimming with some friends yesterday. We have lots of softball tournaments coming up, which the kids and the fam come out and enjoy some hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff. So it's just like, it's crazy. Summertime is insane. I think the next weekend we have off now, we're mid-July. The next weekend we have off now is like mid-September, which is wild. The side hustle is growing, a little bit too much at this point. But that's working really, really well, and I'm likely gonna do an update episode on that. If you don't follow Pepper Patch Finds, do that. I will likely do like a little bit of a YouTube video just showing everything I've done up until now. So if you guys were interested in the how to create a side hustle side of things, I was thinking of doing like a YouTube video, what I did, what I'm doing, how much I've learned, how easy it was. Literally, it was from one day to the next, started doing it, and then we're here. And I also started doing IT work for my wife's company, which is wild. So that's like another side hustle out of nowhere in the last 4 weeks. But their IT guy is kind of like really far now. He lives in Texas, and he was really, really hard to get a hold of. And I know enough to know enough. I know enough to get in trouble, that's for sure. So they've started relying on me, and a lot of their people work like overnights in India and stuff. So like the other night at 10 o'clock, he had a problem with his emails. I hop on, I fix his stuff, and I charge an hour of work type thing. So it's kind of cool. Another little side hustle that just kind of appeared out of nowhere that I was happy to accept. And I think the proudest thing is we didn't indulge in Amazon Prime days over the last 3 days. We have a 7-month streak of not ordering from Amazon.
Very good.
Isn't that wild?
That
Because like I don't know if you guys know us, but we used to like daily or every other day there was a box coming in here.
For sure. But I think me too. I think I haven't ordered online. Well, the last time I did was for a gift for someone.
It's kind of that wild side effect of like when you start to be more conscious budget wise, you start to like rethink everything you like ever purchased.
Well, also I feel that since I've been purchasing less this year, the will to buy something decreased as well. Like even if I go out to shop now, I'll look at t-shirts and be like, I really don't need that. I really don't want, like, no. I don't know. It's easier to say no now. I've practiced it, so now it's just like part of it.
Yep. But I say no to people all the time now, and it feels good. My team was going out for a night out on Friday. Impromptu. They were going for wings and beers and blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, I'm not doing it. It wasn't part of the plan. And this month is like, we have a lot going on, so it's tight. We're doing an activity with the kids. It was like $300-400 budgeted there. We're going to Granby Zoo, going to the zoo soon. So I was just like, no, not doing it. And it's not, you realize that people aren't really disappointed. They're actually those who are your champions in your corner, and like they get it. They're like, yeah, sure, next time out, which is a lot of fun, which is really cool to realize that like the right people will always understand. Cool. And we're back at it. So food for thought, nutrition and growth is kind of like the title here. So you're, I believe, the more expert or more, how do I say this? you're more with it when it comes to this stuff than I am. I am a notoriously poor eater. I indulge 24/7. I don't have the healthy eating. I didn't for a very long time. Also, I think what's going to be cool is to realize, and we'll talk about how you view nutrition at 20 and the difference of when I used to be 20, what I could eat, and what I'm eating today. If I did the same thing, like what that means for our bodies. But also the way we feel when we eat certain kinds of foods, and what does that mean when we talk personal growth and our own growth. We're going to talk about like what eating properly does for us. And I have a pretty recent example because fell off the wagon, if you will, for a little bit. And then we talk about the managing of the indulgences and stuff like that. But quick meals, busy lives. You're a gym rat ish. Are you a healthy eating rat?
No. So
or a protein bro? I call it a protein bro.
So I used to wake up and start my day with eating garbage. By garbage I mean like I didn't care about protein intake. I didn't care about anything. What my goal is, and what has been for a very long time, which when I tell people this, they're kind of like surprised, but I know what I want out of myself, right? Like we all want different things. I want to gain a little bit of weight, but a healthy kind of weight and in the areas that I want it to be in. That's why I go to the gym, right? So like I eat what I'm supposed to, and then I sculpt it where I want it to go. So I also fell off the
Is this a
wagon
booty thing?
a
Are we
bit.
talking about the booty?
Sure, if
Sweetie
you
booty?
will. But not even just that, like even a little bit in my legs, a little bit in my arms, keep the stomach smaller, which I'm very happy that I've been able to maintain, because for the longest time when I was younger, I always had a little bit of a belly. Like no matter what I did, if I wore a crop top, like you could see it like poking out or whatever, people might look at me and be like, oh, well, what are you talking about? I know what I want out of myself. So like, you know, it's all based on opinion, like my own opinion on myself. Right. So that's what it is. And so I always kind of struggled like in the stomach area, but ever since I've been changing my diet in the morning, I've realized a drastic change. So I don't wake up bloated. I don't go to bed bloated. I'm not bloated during the day. And I think really I finally cracked the code. It's what I eat in the morning. So my favorite go-to is 2 eggs, 2 breakfast sausages, and an avocado toast. I'll do that. You know, some people might be like, oh, that's not enough protein in the morning. Sure. I don't really calculate like macros and all this stuff. I feel like life is a little bit less enjoyable when you do that kind of thing. I do look at if I ate enough during the day, and if I did, you know, meet my protein goal. If I'm off by a few, like I'm not super hard on myself, I make sure I have a healthy breakfast. I make sure I work out, I do my thing, which fell off the wagon, but I think it's a summer thing. And I've brought my workouts down to 4 days a week instead of 5, because my work is actually very physical. And I'm realizing that if I go 5, I'm not giving my muscles enough time to actually rest. And I've seen a huge difference ever since I've been doing 4 times a week. I feel like things are growing easier. And I'm like, whoa, okay, maybe that's what I needed. Anyway, so I've realized that if I eat like that in the morning, I'm like, I look good, I feel good. And then during the day, the rest of the day, I don't really look at what I eat. I eat whatever I want.
And if you had one tip, if we look at talking about the budget wise, because a lot of people will say, and I'm going to get into the way I think, because I think there's a cool contrast there between 20s and 40s and the way we look at eating. Also very important that you mentioned many times what works for me, you, and that's you can look at the success of somebody else and replicate exactly what they do when we talk about gym, physical eating,
and it won't necessarily work for you.
It will not translate at all for you. You might even go in the wrong direction. You're doing the exact same thing somebody else is doing. Obviously, there's a lot of trial and error. There's 100,000 different methods out there, and finding the one that works for you. And we'll talk about the ones that work for us and things that we've done that help us. But testing it out, go ahead, try. If you think, hey, I like what he's doing, maybe I'll give that a try. Do it. And I've done it with some people at work, and they've come back to me and given the feedback like, hey, I'll talk about fasting. I fast. They don't like it. Women over men often don't like the fasting. And it's actually, I think, with more of the reading, and I haven't read from a woman's perspective, but from what I understand from the ladies at work that have kind of given it a shot, fasting doesn't work as well for women as it does for men, apparently. So
I agree.
that could be, that could be a thing. I'm big on the fasting, and we'll get into that now. But just before we do, when people, one of the biggest problems people have, they say eating healthy costs me so much money. Eating healthy is not sustainable when you're so busy. Do you have something you would tell somebody who's on that we're talking about budgets, that are on a budget or that are leading super busy lives? How do they achieve kind of like sticking within their grocery budget and or time budget to eat healthy?
So I'm still not moved out yet and things, so I kind of have it a little bit easier because food's ready, or like just that kind of
But
thing.
is it always, I guess if you're not watching your food as much, food might be ready, but it might not necessarily be the food your body needs, right? Like
I get it.
Depending on the food that's ready, right?
No, I get it. But I have thought about it like, oh, if I move out, like I'm busy already as it is, so how am I gonna do this? Like I've thought of it. I really have. And also, I like different foods from what my family likes. So I do feel that I can eat more if I'm eating the food that I actually like versus what's actually ready. So you're right about that. But I have already had it in my head that I am going to do meal prepping. Not meal prepping in the sense of like a gym bro, like I have my Monday Tupper, my Tuesday Tupper, my Wednesday, like no. But what I mean is, and I actually learned this trick from a family that I used to visit a lot, and they used to do this, and I feel like that works really well, is that they would on Sunday cook 3 meals. They would alternate during the week with those 3 meals. Friday was their we're eating out day. And then Saturday was leftovers of whatever was left over, and then Sunday you cook 3 meals again, and you alternate between the 3 during the week, because you can't eat the same thing either. I know, because I can't do that, but yeah, stuff like that. If you run out earlier, you can make something quick. What's quick? I don't know. I guess I wouldn't even really know, but my go-to is making like my own poulet rouge at like home style. So I make a bowl of rice. I put like whatever chickens in the fridge. I like just season it, and then chop up some cucumber, onion, put even like red beans just for extra protein, and like I make my own spicy mayo sauce and call it a day. Like that's pretty easy. That works well.
Yeah, you touched on some things. Meal prepping is I would say, especially when you get to the family life, it's and thank God for my wife. I'm not a big chef kind of guy. I'm not a big cook anything kind of guy. So having that down, getting all the ingredients, shopping with that purpose of what are the meals we're going to be doing this week, making sure they're along the lines of whatever health choices you want to make, going out and sticking to. So we did that today. We went to Costco. We went to the grocery store, but we had a list in our hands, and my wife knew exactly, this is what I'm going to be making this week. She keeps in mind, and the tough part here is that I have 2 growing children who require, and somebody in their 20s requires more carbs, more fats to be able to, good fats, healthy carbs, obviously, but they require and can eat more of that stuff than, and even my wife, who's 8-9 years younger than I am, than I can. So then, my wife is very good at trying to figure out a meal that, okay, if I put all this together, you know, with a little bit of pasta, I'll swap out the pasta and just do like beans for me and her type of thing. So, and then shopping with that purpose and not going to the grocery store without a plan, and that's when the budget starts to like escape from you, because then you're gonna see things like, oh man, oh that's cool, oh that's cool, oh I want to buy this, oh this is really good, and then you get home and you realize, well I didn't really even buy stuff that I could make like solid meals with. I kind of just bought all the things I thought were good. So planning ahead, and shopping with that purpose of the meal prep. And again, it's not, oh, we're making our Tupper for Monday, we're making our Tupper for Tuesday. That never really worked for me either. I don't think it's something that
I don't think it's ever gonna work for me, honestly.
yeah, I've had people I've known in the past that would like show up to the office, and they just leave their all their lunches for the week in the fridge. So they have Tupper A B C D for the 5 days. They would put it in the fridge and it's there, and they prepare like 30 of them. They have lunch, they have supper, they have breakfast, all planned out for them. So if that works for you and that's something that you enjoy doing, fantastic, go for it. If it works. But again, you can meal prep as in prepare what you're going to want to eat, prepare your recipes ahead of time, budget your shopping based off of those lists. You can take those meals, and if you want to take that a step further, if you're techie type people, I know a nutritionist who, what they've done over the years is they've saved all the recipes for their favorite, all the ingredients for their favorite recipes in some sort of Excel macro type thing. And when they want to prepare their week, they'll go, okay, what do I want to make this week? I want to make, okay, poulet rouge or whatever it is, bowl. And then I want to make Greek style chicken. And then I want to make a bean-based dish that I have. And then they'll put that into their week on the front of their Excel. And then Excel will go and just grab all the ingredients they need, print out their list, and go. So you can build that kind of a system if you're more of like the tech and you want to involve AI and tech and all that kind of stuff into your life to make it easier for you. You can do that too. So that exists out there. And if that works for you, fantastic. For us, it works to prepare, and then because we're so busy and because we have the two little kids who need to eat differently, we'll kind of plan like, okay, Tuesday, I know that I'm going to get home from work a little bit earlier. I'm going to place the more involved meal that's the cooking there. Monday, we're all kind of doing, okay, Daddy's going to do burgers on the barbecue or whatever. So we kind of plan it meal prep that way, where we position the meals that will take longer in the spots that we know we'll have more time to kind of cook them in. And then obviously for me, and I touched on it a little bit, difference being is that if I do what you did, I fall off the wagon real quick. I don't get to the gym as much as you do. So there's that too. For me, it's I know not everybody believes in the calories in, calories out as the only way of losing weight or maintaining or doing what you want. But for my personal experience in my body, it's a very easy calorie in, calorie out. If I'm over exceeding my calories, I will drop weight like substantially, and very, very, very in a short period of time as well.
Well, it also has to do with like your genetics and things, right? Like your metabolism, your genetics, your this, your that. I can eat a lot in one day and I could eat a lot for like 4 days in a row and see no difference. And like when I mean a lot, I mean like a lot. Like I could like keep up with some people and I'll see no difference. And I'm like, whatever, I think it's just my metabolism. And actually my friend, who's a little bit older than me, she told me, she's like, you're gonna see, you're not gonna have that forever. Like take advantage now, like do what you're doing now. She goes, but you're gonna see that when you get older, inevitably you're gonna be and you're gonna be like, oh, I eat off of like nothing, off of like what I usually eat. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm excited for that because because that's what I want. And I struggle with that a bit.
I agree with that, but I also think I think we're looking at it from like for me, I know that's true. But I also know I don't burn the amount of calories I used to burn in my 20s. I don't play as much sport. In my 20s, especially early 20s, I was in competitive baseball. I was doing a lot more physically than I do now as I get older. Now I spend a lot of time, my job, when I was younger, my job was walking around a retail store. I would work in construction. Now I sit on a chair for 8 hours. right? So like right off the bat, I've cut 8 hours of activity out of my day from when I was in my 20s. So I think there's also a correlation there with, as we get older, we just tend to really ramp off how much we actually do physically, and I don't think we attribute enough to that. And I also think that causes, and I am no doctor by any means, but I also think that attributes to metabolism slowing down. So you do a lot less physically, you eat a little bit worse, or you eat the same you were doing before, but with a lot less calories burnt within a week, and your metabolism begins to like slow. So you got to find a way to kind of like kickstart that back up again, and sometimes it's really hard to find the right recipe. And that was the biggest wake up call, especially going into my 40s. I realize now, like, if I fall off just for a little bit and don't increase my gym time or any kind of sports or any of that, especially like the second half of the winter, which is where I fell off the wagon a little bit. I think I put on like 12 pounds. Now, before that, I lost almost 50, but I still put back like 12 pounds over the course of the winter. The second half of the winter, I barely played softball. I didn't do anything, and winters like here are notorious, right? Unless you're out snowboarding. So if we put like the contrast side to side, is I haven't gone snowboarding in 15 years minimum, and you're out at least once a week, or you're trying to, or you're doing that stuff. I see the videos, you're hitting the gym and all that, and I'm here like, I got to put the kids to bed. I got to do this. I got to do that. So I have to prioritize that. I have to manage my time. I've now taken on these extra projects. So now where does my health and my fitness fit into there? And that's kind of where I personally fall off very, very much with that. And where I feel like, okay, it was a few months of bad eating, especially our family. Our family dynamic when it comes to the holidays is like food, and nothing but food, right? So then you're like, it's okay, and then you continue the it's okay for the next 5 months.
You see, whereas when it comes to holidays, I get so excited because I'm like, I know I'm gonna eat so much, it better contribute to what I want it to contribute to, and it's the opposite, which is hilarious, I think.
It is, and it's like, it's where I realize that like food addiction is probably a thing. For me, it's a thing. That's my vice. That's my bad one.
So I actually spoke to a friend about that, and I never had that, or I don't have that, where like I'll eat, and when I'm full, I'm full. I'm not touching it. Whereas that, like, when I was talking to a friend of mine, she was like, no, I used to eat till I was full, and if it's in front of me, I'll keep going. And I'm like, I wish I could do that, because I can't. Like, physically, I can't. I'm gonna yak. Like, but I don't know what it is. I'm like, fuck, I wish I could do that.
I'm an emotional eater. That's my big problem is I have emotional eating problems. So if like I'm angry, doesn't matter how full I was 5 seconds ago. If I get angry, I'm hungry. I'll go eat something.
I know. See, if I'm angry,
I'll take it out on food.
If I'm nervous, if I'm stressed, if I'm sad, I can't eat. I guess it's just,
different strokes, different folks, right?
I guess
that's where it
just like, fun fact, every time I tell this to people, they freak out. I don't like pasta. I can have 2 or 3 bites of it and then be like, that was great, I want something else now. I don't know what it is with pasta that I eat it and then I'm like, I don't want any more of this.
Carb heavy.
I want something else. I think my body can't digest carbs properly. Not all
have you
carbs,
ever tried
though.
Protein pasta?
No, I haven't.
So I have switched. So now when the family does pasta, my wife will cook the pasta for them and then put in a protein pasta for me.
I've never tried that.
So it's like lentil based instead of like it's gluten free, and it's like basically lentils turned into a pasta shape.
I need to try that because I think my body has a hard time like decomposing pasta in itself. Rice, I can go to my heart's content. Anything else, I could go like whatever. But it's just pasta. I don't know what it is. And I also have a thing with flavor that I get tired of flavor very quickly. So like pasta, it's one sauce, right? Usually. Well, so you 2-3 bites, I'm like, I'm done.
Eat something else.
Yeah, I need something else.
That's when
Give
you
me a
add
burger.
the Parmesan cheese on top. Switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm like, give me a burger, give me something else. Like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, I pasta bloats me. Pasta, like carbs in general, and I'm not saying I'm on a no carbs diet. I'll have carb. I add carb to, and I'll talk about this in a sec. I have a shake. I put carbs in there, but I find carbs, like I get really bloated. I get and we'll move into the next one, is like the mental and physical toll that food can take on you.
But I do find that pasta here versus pasta around the world is different. Like if you go to Italy and you have pasta, you don't get bloated. I went to Thailand. We were having pad thai, pad soup, pad everything. And like it's always noodles or rice or whatever. You don't get bloated. You could eat to your whole plate and it's like a mountain of food and you don't get bloated. I think it really is also how like the country you're living in, honestly,
how it's cooked, the oils that are used, and things like that.
How processed they are, like
things
everything.
That are processed. Yeah, we eat a lot of processed food here, which definitely contributes to bloating and some of those issues. But I can definitely tell, like I just switched back now. Now I'm doing a hard reset, which is what I did the last time I lost a lot of my weight. But I can tell my mental state over the last 3 months when I was eating pretty poorly, I would say. Not gorging and not being like, a gluttonous person, but I could tell that I was angrier. Things bothered me more very quickly. I wasn't enjoying work as much. I wasn't enjoying doing activities as much. I want to see people less. I find that like putting that processed fried foods, all that heavy stuff, that carb heavy pastas that we're talking about, anything like fast food, McDonald's, things like that. I find the more you eat that stuff, the more you want it, which right away triggers something in my brain going, okay, I'm addicted to something. It's that same addiction that people will find within alcohol and drugs and all that. That's, if I can put the closest thing, because I've never been addicted to those things, but I can feel what that is to somebody, because I'll be like 3 days out from having a Big Mac and you're like, oh, I want the Big Mac, and I can only imagine what they put in there to make you want that stuff more and more and more, right? So that to me is like, and then swapping it out and starting to eat healthy again and going back to my shakes and more protein and making sure that I'm not a macro crazy guy, and I haven't been measuring everything I eat. I did it the first time, which is where that scale came from, which I now use to weigh my products that I sell. But I'm not macro crazy now, but I do consciously try and keep track of 2 metrics. One is the amount of protein I intake, and 2 is the amount of carbs I intake. I try and keep that to a really good balance, as minimum carbs as possible, as much protein as possible.
Another thing you could use that I use too is it's an app called My Fitness app, and it asks you like, what's your goal? Is it to gain weight? Gender, age, height, weight, what you are now, whatever. And then it tells you like, okay, so you should be eating X amount of calories a day. You should be having, so let's say for me, it says like, I don't know actually exactly, but I think like 2,000 something for me, like 2.2. And then calories. And then it'll say you should be having at least like a gram of protein per pound that you weigh. So I'm okay, so I should have this amount of protein, whatever. Your fat and your carb intake should obviously be less, your fat content a lot less than your carbs even, or whatever, because I do believe that everything in moderation, right? Don't just cold turkey carbs out of your diet, because I do think that they're important, especially if you're going to the gym. Carbs are there to maintain muscle repair. If you want to grow bigger, you need to rip those muscles in the gym, but then you need to also repair them with carbs, with protein, with this, with that, and with sleep, with water, with all that kinds of stuff, right? So everything with moderation. That's how I see it, with balance. But this app really helps. Like, and then everything you put into the app, you can search it, or you can even scan the barcode that's on the product that you have. So it gives you an even better read of what you're actually putting in. And then it tells you like, whatever, you put in the measurements of like how much you ate of that. And then it gives you everything. It tells you how much calories it was, how much of each each category that you ate, and it's a good tracker for me.
My Fitness app
My
or
Fitness,
Pal?
my
I've heard of My Fitness Pal. Is it My Fitness app?
uh,
While you look at that, I'll give you guys an alternative one, which is what I was using. Is literally the Fitbit app. I put a Fitbit on my wrist to measure how many steps and all that I was getting a day and how many calories I was burning. Their app, very similar to what Elena is saying here, is kind of the same.
it's My Fitness Pal.
Pal,
You're right.
okay.
Yeah, Pal.
Okay, so My Fitness Pal, I don't know if that's an Apple version, but I have heard of it. I've never tried it, and I used after slapping the Fitbit on my wrist, which is probably the next thing that's coming back for me, is retracking how much I'm burning on a daily basis, and making sure I'm getting my steps in. I mean, at one point I did Movember. I was walking every single day. You see and feel the benefits with that. So My Fitness Pal, Fitbit. I think Samsung has a version too. I mean, everybody's in on the health game now. So whatever works best for you, whatever's accessible, and as least as free as possible. I will encourage you as much as you can. Don't get sucked into these like fad diets, or isogenics, $500 a month special pills. You'll lose 600 pounds. It's you're only going to treat the symptoms when you go into those things. You have to treat why it is you always revert back, and that's the big one. So by doing it slow, taking little baby steps, and I've said this story before, and I'll say it again because it's good for this one. When I started doing this, and I was 293 pounds on the scale. When I started doing it, the one thing I removed was calories while drinking. So all the calories I drank, beers, juices, pops, coffees, iced coffees, cold, the any kind of coffee with milk in it, sugar in it, anything that involved a calorie in a drink, I cut it out. I started drinking water, and heaps and heaps and heaps of water, and that super accelerated. And I did that for like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. And then I was like, okay, I want to add the next step to my journey. So then I bought a Fitbit. I used the wellness account that I have that's accessible to me at work. I was able to buy a Fitbit. It didn't cost me anything. My work paid for that. So I went out and I purchased a Fitbit to track my heart rate, which, fun fact, while I lost the weight, my resting beats per minute dropped by 22, which is wild to me. Basically, I was sitting still and my heart was beating like somebody who was taking a casual walk down the street for 6 hours. It's quite scary when you start to measure those kinds of things. So then I started doing that, and I said, okay, I want to measure how many steps I'm taking per day and how much calories I'm burning. So I started doing that. And then I didn't say I wanted to improve it, but just by looking at it, I was like, oh, I want to do better the next day. I want to do better the next day. I want to do better the next day. And I started doing walks and and then I joined the Movember project and all that stuff. So then I started saying, okay, after a few weeks of that, I said, let me measure exactly what I'm eating. Bought a kitchen scale. Sorry. I think this thing cost me $20, perhaps, just like a little digital scale. And I started measuring out everything I ate so that I could understand. And the goal behind that was not to measure what I was eating. It was to understand what all the foods I put in my body give me. And what I would do is I would take, so we use the example of pasta. I'll take pasta, I'll put it in my bowl. I'll zero this out. I'll start putting the pasta in. I'll do 200 grams of pasta, whatever. And then I'll take that and I'll input it into my Fitbit app, which has the same thing you were talking about with the MyFitnessPal. You can put it in and it gives you back your macros. You can scan barcodes. It's all user generated stuff, right? So if you scan something and it's not there, you're encouraged to put that information in so that the next person that scans it has it. And then that'll tell you exactly what kind of calories you've intaken, number of fats, number of carbs, number of proteins. So my goal was to learn so that I didn't have to measure anymore, just know what I'm putting in my body. Especially, I work on the outside, I work with people, I meet with clients. So when I sit down at a restaurant, I don't have a scale with me and I'm not sitting there and putting things into my Fitbit app. I want to just be able to go, okay, if I order this, this, and this, I'm in this ballpark.
That's about 500 calories. Like you learn a bit more. It's true that
in this ballpark. How many protein gram, da da da. And then obviously when I get back to the car after my business lunch, boom, enter it in right away and self-check myself. Did I do good? Did I not do good? And if I didn't do good, fine. It is what it is. You just know. And then maybe I need to take another 2,000 steps that day just to help my mental and burn it off. And then I started saying, okay, then what's my next vice? My next biggest problem was snacking at night. And so that's where I introduced intermittent fasting, and intermittent fasting absolutely accelerated the weight loss by like I would say double, almost double. When I started doing that, I was losing maybe a couple of pounds per week, a pound and a half, a pound per week. And for the first 3, 4, 5 weeks of intermittent fasting, I was like 3 to 6 pounds a week. And I shedded it really. Now I was very large. You can intermittent fast for a year and you lose maybe a pound, but you don't have, well, you don't want to lose anyway, but the body has something to do with that. I was huge. So for me, it worked super, super well. Baby steps, one little step at a time. What is it? The next thing I'm trying to fix? Let me work on that. I'll do that for 2 weeks. You don't have to get it all done at once, but what you're doing is you're changing your core habit. You're changing the why, not just the symptom, which is I'm fat, or the symptom is I eat too many carbs. Let me cut those out for 6 months.
Little changes a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Takes you a lot further than, like I said, cutting things cold turkey, because then the chances of you wanting to run back are a lot higher. But if you, for example, I used to not eat anything before going to the gym in the morning, because I'm like, okay, I need to sleep this amount of hours, and then if I wake up and I just like head to the gym and then I eat afterwards, like I'll be fine. But someone just told me recently and like made me think a little bit differently, is that food is, let's revert back to beginning of time. What is food? Food is energy. How are you pushing in the gym if you're not feeding yourself energy? Right? And they were like, just have a banana and like 10 almonds. That's enough to give you enough energy to push. And then afterwards you eat whatever you usually eat, like breakfast, all this stuff. So I've been looking at food a little bit differently too, in terms of, okay, I need energy. I need to fuel myself before I go to the gym. So let me eat a little something.
Yeah, we tend to forget that at a core, we're an animal. And animals very rarely, if you look at animals in the wild, they'll very rarely eat to indulge. Humans love a good indulging. And we've turned our love for indulgence, especially with food, into experiences. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have experiences with food, but I think the goal of food is completely changed. We no longer eat to sustain. We no longer eat to build energy. We eat as an experience. We eat to try different meals. Everything has an emotion tied to it, because we're a very emotional animal. And so it's very, very easy to forget and quickly run off the rails with that.
It even goes as far as like, when you go out and post pictures of your food, it's like, oh, they're living the life because they're out eating. It got so crazy.
Remember at one point, nobody can have a meal without taking a picture of food?
Yes, that was like wasn't that the entire purpose of like Instagram at like the very beginning, was just posting food?
I gotta feel like it if it wasn't, it turned into that. Like if Instagram didn't say, hey, we want a venue for people to post food pics, they missed the boat, because that's exactly what it turned into at one point. I remember sitting down with friends and everybody knew, you do not touch your plate until we all get a picture of the plate.
But it's still like that. I mean, like less, or sometimes I'm just going to eat it and be like, whatever, I don't care. But I mean, I'm guilty. I post my food when I go out, especially if it's a very beautiful plate or whatever. Like I'm going to post it. But I think like it's become such a, how do I say, like almost like a fashion statement. Like, oh, you're so cool if you go to restaurants and then you post your picture of your like drink or your food or whatever. Like, when did this all become so crazy?
Whoa, that chair almost went flying. What was I saying? The keeping up with the Joneses, right? That's also become this food. At the price food is right now, eating in a restaurant has become a flex. If you can eat in a restaurant a lot, it's a flex. And then what do people like to do with their flex? What do we do with our shiny new cars? We drive them out on the road a little bit more often. We take pictures of them. We post them on the internet. Yada, yada, yada. What do we do with our brand new shoes? What do we do with our fashion statements? Well, we're doing the same thing with our food because that's just the way humans are. And then you're sitting at home, or no, sorry, I'll back up. I'm sitting at home looking at her damn Instagram with all the amazing things that she eats, and I'm going, and then you kind of like, you turn over and you go, hey, you want to do sushi tonight? You want to go for some sushi? Lena had sushi yesterday, and I want sushi now. So it's the same thing. It's the keeping up with the Joneses principle. We just took it to food with our Instagram stuff. And hey, guilty. I also used to post. I think I used to have an Instagram save thing just for food, like the you can save your stories there just for food. And then this day and age, if something is presented like 5-star Michelin chef's presentation, I'll take a picture of it. For me, it's like, so that's the experience of food. So we kind of have to remind ourselves that it's okay to indulge every once in a while, and give yourself a day in the week where you indulge. You talked about, I forget who it was that said on Fridays was their eat out day. Do that. It's fine. Go eat out. Go have a little bit of fried foods.
Yeah, because
do your thing.
Don't deprive yourself 100%. Because like I said, if you deprive yourself, you don't want an unhealthy relationship with food either. Like if you start eating healthier and then you're like, you know what, I'm never going to eat out ever again. And then you keep eating healthy food, you're going to hate at some point eating healthy all the time. You need to have a little bit of a change. Like you need a little cheat thing or like whatever. So definitely, like I said, don't cut cold turkey, because you're going to run back and never look back to, I'm going to eat healthy again, because you're going to have that negative emotion towards eating healthy. So yeah, like that one day of eating out, it won't kill you. It won't even like erase all the progress that you've been making. You're allowed to do it, I mean, don't order 17 meals at McDonald's and eat them in one sitting either. Like that doesn't work. But yeah, like eat out, do your thing, once a week or twice a week. It won't do anything. Just, be mindful. Everything is balanced, right? Everything, in moderation, like I said. Everything in moderation. I feel like that comes back a lot from you in this podcast. Well, because it's your philosophy. It's like your personal philosophy. Because it really is. Because how do you know what's good if you don't have a little bit of bad? Or like, right, the opposite too. What do it just, that's how I see it. Like I hate is a strong word, but yeah, I don't like when people say, somebody who's not like hasn't worked out in years and years and years, like all of a sudden, like I'm a super gym rat, I do this, I do that, like all of a sudden their life has become like super about like working out and all this stuff, and then you're like, and then they fall off the wagon, and you're like, yeah, because you went in on it too freaking hard, and now like you're back to what you were, like obviously, like that's why I'm just like, you know what. And because I did it so slowly now, like I fell off the wagon a little bit, but I find it way more easier to just get back on track now too, because I know, okay, I'm just going to start a little bit slowly. And I do a little bit more extreme at the beginning. I swap one of my meals out for a shake that I know what's in here. So I put protein, I put a little bit of fruits to get some good sugars. I put a scoop of peanut butter just for flavor, but that's measured. So I know exactly what I'm getting, the fats and the protein wise. I put a scoop of carbohydrates in here, so I'm not carb free, even though I'm having shakes. There's carbs in the shake. I just know I'm controlling that carb. And it's like, I think it's from like pulverized potato or something like that. So it's like I know what's going into the shake. And then I've also started, because I'm old as fuck. What's the name of this stuff for my joints? Because I'm old. Collagen? Is it collagen? And collagen is not for your skin.
I think it helps with joints too.
Possible. It's very possible.
If not, that explains why my skin is glowing and my knees are killing me.
Yeah. It's collagen. Collagen is to like, it helps the elasticity in your skin as well.
I think it does a lot of good things. So I put there's a version from Costco that is also a protein powder. So I do.
You know what else is really good for your joints? Sorry, I'm bringing this up again. The inverter machine that you sold, that's also very good for your joints.
Oh wow, that really hurts you, eh?
It really did.
I can hold you upside down if you want. I'll grab you by your ankles and hold you upside down. That could happen. Listen, sometimes the power of the flipper is better than what I need for my own. I'll find another one. Fine. Blame your cousin.
My birthday's coming up in 2 months.
Blame your cousin. She got on it, went upside down, said her ears killed her. Get it out of the house. I was like, okay.
That's probably because she had whiplash.
Something. She had some. I don't know what it was, but the ears hurt. As we do, we're gonna throw out a little gauntlet, a little challenge for you guys, surrounding this, and you may choose or may not choose not to, but we're going to ask you to do one thing for 1 week, and that is just track how much you eat, because I think the act or the art of tracking it and write it down and don't cheat. And it's not to belittle yourself, it's not to get down on yourself, but I think it's just to make you realize, and the one thing I started realizing when I started tracking is how much I actually ate. Little snackies in between meals, and that's the kind of thing you want to kind of hammer down. You don't really remember those times. I just had a handful of chips when I crossed the bag and I went downstairs back to my office type thing. Those add up real quick. So if you're in the process of trying to, become a healthier eater, trying to get healthier, trying to lose a little bit of weight, trying to gain some muscle, trying to do whatever it is that you do, track for a week and really sit back and analyze exactly what that's telling you, and is it actually helping you towards your goal or not. Did you ever track? You said no, right?
I'm with my Fitness Pal.
The Fitness Pal. That's
right. I only track that way. Do I do it all the time? No, but like I said, I did it so often at some point that I kind of figured I ate enough today. I didn't eat enough today. Yeah. So
eating enough is also I say weight loss because that identifies with me, but the opposite could be true as well. I think I'm not gaining weight but I eat all kinds, and then you might realize in a week of tracking you're nowhere near what you thought you ate, which will help you gain your weight.
But no. So I just double check that kinds of stuff. Other than that, that's what it is.
I love that for us. I love that for you guys. Good luck on the challenge for the next week. If you find it helped you, let us know. Reach out. And some of you have been reaching out through, and it's a lot of friends and family right now, which we understand. Thank you. We love everybody listening to the podcast, and reach out through the different venues. If you're a friend of a friend, let that friend know so they can come back and tell me. If you're a coworker, if you're whatever, we love hearing all of the feedback that you guys are enjoying listening to our voices, which is kind of wild because who would ever thought that. And we'll catch you on the next one, which we promise won't take 2 months this time. It'll be in another 2 weeks. We'll release this one probably today or tomorrow, and then we'll catch you guys 2 weeks from now. And until then, we'll see ya.
Bye.
Bye.